And hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And this is part one of me ranking of the top 10 best James Bond henchmen and femme fatales. Now, this whole list is purely subjective and it's my personal opinion. I'm ranking them based on how interesting I find them, the actors portrayal in question, but also just how great and memorable I find the henchmen in question to be. So, without further ado, let's kick off with a honorable mention. Renard, portrayed by Robert Carlyle. I hope I pronounced that name right. This, you may know this actor from I know this actor also from a TV show called Once Upon a Time, where he portrays Mr. Gold slash Rumpelstiltskin. Great character. Now, Now, why do I put him as an honorable mention? Well, he's kind of divided in the fandom, as in whether he's really a henchman, a main villain, or a secondary villain. Now, I do agree that he is, in many ways, a secondary villain. He also does a lot of the henchman work in this Bond film, and I do agree he is, without a doubt, the henchman of the film. Now, his gimmick of how he stays strong and the bullet lodged in his head, slowly killing him and he will get stronger until the day he does die, I find to be really great. But just like Elektra, I find that these characters are so great, but they are not used well enough. Overall, he is definitely a henchman, and for a while throughout the series was the last time the series ever had a good, proper henchman. But let's get on to our dishonorable mention. Elvis, portrayed by Antonio Tubman. Tubman? Hope I pronounced it right. Again, sorry if not. Now, where do we begin with this character? Like I said, character, not the actor. I don't blame him for this role. Overall, he's just forgettable. You hardly even remember him being in the film at all. And also, the name, Elvis. Why even call a character Elvis if he looks nothing like the king of rock and roll? Overall, he's more of a secretary and is not even that of a good character to even begin with. It's just sad that he's just as forgettable as the movie he's in. It's just a waste of a character. But let's get on to the top 10. Kicking it off at number 10 is the most modern Bond henchman ever, Mr. Hinks, portrayed by Dave Bautista. Okay, where do we begin with how cool this character is? First off, I do like how he's the most modern henchman. He encompasses what was so classic about the old school Bond henchman, but also makes the role his own. Basically, he is an assassin for Spectre, whose gimmick is that he's really strong, but he also has metal thumbnails. I really find that cool. And despite the fact he's always brutally killing his enemies, he does take the time to dress fancy. Again, a little gimmick, a little bit cliche, or even just a little, if you think about it in hindsight, it does sound a little bit weird, but it just works. And I also like how, just as he's also strong, he's also the classic silent type. And yeah, so the reason why he's at number 10 is because he is a bit modern, but he doesn't have that classic staying power that I find the other villains to have, other henchmen or femme fatales to have. Coming in at number 9, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, portrayed by Bruce Glover and Potter Smith. Now, for a corny movie like Diamonds Are Forever, I guess you do need corny henchmen, and these guys are definitely corny. Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are basically homosexual hitmen. Now, I don't want to get too political in how their homosexuality is really portrayed. Is it offensive? I don't want to get into that. But overall, I just do like how they're just fun villains, always quoting off each other, and overall just being hilarious towards each other. And that's all they are. They are henchmen who happen to be in a homosexual relationship. And that's all said for this pairing. An interesting fact, Mr. Glover here's son is also an actor, and he will later portray George McFly in the Back to the Future series. So yeah, interesting fact right there. Number 8. Fiona Volpe, portrayed by Lucina Palizza. Hopefully I pronounced that right. in my opinion, this is the first time in the series where we had a proper female, the first proper female henchman. The femme fatale character was born from Viola Lope. I like how she is a very strong, very independent woman, but on the other side of the tracks, with no redeeming qualities to be turned to the other side. She does, and her Bond's charms does not affect her, and she is in many ways almost a complete psychopath. And the fact that she wants to stand on her own and have no guy hold her down, I really find to be rather interesting. I'm very astounding to me, and I just absolutely enjoy this character. And I do like her death, how it's questionable whether if Bond really killed her or her henchman. You really gotta see the death yourself and find out what really happened. And you come to your own answer. Overall, I just find her to be the first series proper femme fatale. Coming in at number 7 is, if this thing would work,